and I quit, and I had to make the sacrifice of moving from Boston back to Puerto Rico so that my father can help me out financially so that I could be able to do this. And I was actually motivated by a couple people that I met. I cooked for a group that's working out of California, and that's how they got me introduced to the whole coding procedure and everything, the whole process. And I decided to try it. So I'm open to new things, and I'm hoping I can stay positive and get through this.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We know that career transitions are not easy and they require a lot of sacrifices. And I'm so glad that your father and you have a support system to help you through this. Awesome. I just want to, I think there's a few people who have been accepted into Flatiron. If you have been accepted, do you mind either unmuting your mic and sharing it, or you can post it in the chat just so Annette gets an idea of who's on the call, who's excited about Flatiron.
I'll go ahead and say something.
Great.
My name is Diarte. I am in the process of turning my cam on right now. But my name is Diarte, and I got accepted back in the end of June, the beginning of July.
Congrats.
And I've run into a couple of hurdles along the way regarding financing towards my acceptance. Right now, my tentative start date is on August the 12th. But at the same time, I've pretty much run into a couple hurdles to where I've pretty much kind of taken the path of doing self-taught and just teaching myself, unless there are any alternatives that come my way that are out there. So.
Well, first of all, congrats on your acceptance. I hope you had a positive experience in the admissions process and got to know some of our people. I would ask if you've had the opportunity to sort of really dig in and work with the admissions team to figure out sort of different paths and how to overcome the financial hurdle. We definitely know it is a hurdle, and one that, through different payment options, we can sort of work closely. So I don't know if you sort of worked with the your admissions representative, talk them through it. We're able to troubleshoot and try to sort of figure out between the different options. One, if you've already done that and we got to the end, then I would say, I'll share my email at the end of the call, and we should pick up the dialogue again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will do. I definitely have been corresponding and just keeping in contact with Patrick, who is my admissions rep.
Yes,
and
I love Patrick.
He is very awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
And he's really helped me out with coming up with various options to see if they would work for me or whatnot. We kind of, hit a big obstacle in the middle of July or whatnot, and kind of put it on the table for now until I've been doing a lot of deep diving during my off time, but that's pretty much the journalist in me. But
it's one of the best things you can do. It really is.
Overall, I've been doing a lot of deep diving and everything just to see if I can find options or whatnot. But if you want to continue the dialogue and everything and see if there's anything that y'all can do, then I'm more happy.
I'm Annette. You did the work to get in. It sounds like you're pretty committed. I'm Annette at flatironschool.com. So we should definitely do that.
Okay, we'll do.
I don't know the whole situation, so I can't, make any promises, but we should definitely pick up the dialogue.
Okay,
yeah,
we'll do.
And that's one of the reasons why I also invited Annette. I think there's a lot of people who might feel they're in a similar position as you. And so we're going to start the AMA now, but later on the call, it's definitely going to be one of the topics that we'll discuss to find out what types of financing options Flatiron has, income sharing, scholarships, other options. And so we'll definitely go deeper on the call as well. But I appreciate you sharing that with us. And
it's so valuable for me to hear feedback, hear concerns, hear what's on students' mind. So I appreciate everything that you guys share and the questions you ask, and you know, we use that as meaningful insight from students to help us go forward.
Okay. Thank you so much, Annette.
Yeah.
I will be reaching out.
Good.
Yeah. And so I think right now we're at almost 75 people on this call. So first I want to start out, and I want to thank Annette for joining us. This is very special because usually it's the other way around, where the admissions gets to ask questions. Let me just the admissions get to ask questions during the interview process, during the application process. Now the tables are kind of flipped, and people in Career Karma get to ask Annette questions about the process, how they can prepare, how they can stand out, how to get accepted. And so for this call, what I'll do is I'll ask Annette a few questions just to get things started. And then after about 10 minutes, I'll open it up for all of you to ask Annette questions. The point of this meeting is for you to, if you have a question, someone else might have the same question. And like Annette mentioned, this also helps her understand where people are coming from, what people's are concerns, and help more people break into tech. So I want to start out by saying thanks a lot, Annette, for joining us. And I think it would be great for people to kind of get to know you first. So maybe you can share a little bit about yourself, your role at Flatiron, and why did you pick Flatiron out of anywhere else where you could work?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thanks so much for having me tonight. I'm really delighted to talk to this passionate community looking to launch careers and break into tech. I love doing this. I love the opportunity to talk to and hear from students. So I really, really appreciate and feel sort of humbled and honored to get to spend this hour with you all. So I've spent my career in education. I was originally working with school-aged kids and their parents, connecting them to educational resources in their community. I then moved on to helping high school students get the SAT or ACT score they needed to get into the college of their dreams. And as I've gotten older, the students that I serve have gotten older, and now I work with adults looking to get into high-tech careers, looking to gain the high-tech skills they need to launch careers in tech. And you know, through that, find a meaningful and fulfilling career. I found Flatiron School at a time in my life where I was looking to do something different, still in education, because I'm passionate about education, but I wanted to do it in a different place than I had been. I was really attracted to the mission of the school to enable the pursuit of a better life through education, and to this specific sector that was growing and changing as fast as technology is. I had the opportunity to meet the people behind Flatiron School, the founders and the sort of early employees, the teachers, the students, and was really blown away by how passionate people were to help students and connect students to jobs. We at Flatiron School, we have a Slack channel called the Jobs Channel, and it lights up many times a day reporting on the jobs that students have gotten. And it's like it gives the school and the employees there like just so much satisfaction to know how successful our students are. And it's not because it's a rare thing at Flatiron School, but it's because it's the mission, and the whole point is to help students find those jobs. And so it's really a delight every day, and it's why we're all here. So I oversee admissions at the school at our 11 campuses and our online program. Students that are interested in studying with us work with someone on my team. And we work with students that are just starting to think about a career in tech. Like they're just starting to get that niggle that like, I think this could be for me. And they're dabbling in our free coursework, or they're on Career Karma. We work with those that have decided that this is the path and are working through an application, going through the admissions process, and hopefully ultimately enrollment. So that's what I do.
Awesome, and we'll definitely jump deeper and unpack everything that you just talked about. I love that you've always been passionate and driven by education. I think today education is changing, and it's often not the universities that are driving the change. And I know Flatiron has been one of the oldest boot camps in the city. And when I was doing my boot camp, one of the reasons I even started was there was a guy, Adam Waxler. He did Flatiron in 2013, and he was doing finance beforehand. And just finding out about the opportunity to spend 6 months or spend 12 months of learning how to code, and then being able to get into a job without a college degree, without spending thousands of dollars in student loans to get there, gives people a lot of hope. And so I think there's a lot of people on this call who are just wondering, like, what kind of outcomes can people expect? First, I think a simple question is like, how does that even happen? That in 6 months, someone can go from nothing to having the skills to get a job, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about the outcomes for Flatiron School.
Sure.
And give people some ideas on what kind of results they can expect.
Yeah. So how does it happen? It's a lot of work for sure. Let me put that out there. Yeah. It's a lot of work. You're learning a whole new skill set in either software engineering, data science, or UX UI design. So it's a whole new skill set you're learning in a pretty short, relatively speaking, period of time. But we've done the work on our curriculum and program design side to make sure that we're giving students the essential skills they need to hit the ground running on day one of a job, and of course to impress prospective employers during the job search. So we've managed to, through talking to potential employers and companies, figure out what they need in their software engineers, what they need in their data scientists, what they need in their UX UI designers, and build a curriculum that supports that. Then once you get about 80% of the way through the job search, we connect you to a career coach, and that person is your partner through the job search. So they're helping you think about your strategy as a job seeker, and your strategy is your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your entire sort of digital footprint, your interviewing skills, and just like how to be the best candidate for a job you can be, your portfolio, of course. And then on the flip side, they're also helping you think about strategy. What companies you're going to apply to, how many jobs you're going to apply to, how you're going to get your foot in the door to get to that hiring manager, because so much of it is about working your networks and figuring out, if you don't have a network, how to build a network. So they'll work with you on that so that you can get your foot in the door, get that interview, and then once you have that interview, show them the skills that you've attained so that you can get the job. The career services piece is amazing. Our career coaches are amazing, and it's like just a 360-degree partnership to make sure that you can go from actually completing the boot camp to day one in the job. Outcomes. Do you want to go right into outcomes, Timur?
I think that would be great.
Yeah. So Flatiron School has a strong track record of results. We were the first to pioneer third-party verified outcomes reports. We take reporting on outcomes really, really seriously. We've been doing it for years. We send our data to a third party. They review it, and you can trust the data is the data. We have the outcomes reports on our website. Oh, I see you're posting them. Thank you so much. because there's a lot of details in there, and I encourage you guys all to read it. But, if we look at our on-campus New York City immersive report, for example, 97% of job-seeking students for whom we had information during the reporting period accepted jobs. And for our online program, it's 94% of job-seeking students for whom we have information available accepted job offers. So the stats are all there. We share them. We always have, and we feel really strongly about that because students come to us with a very specific goal and outcome in mind, and it's our responsibility to align to our outcomes to those goals.
Yeah. Thanks for being transparent and providing a lot of insight around outcomes. I did share the jobs report, so people can either click on it afterwards, or you can just go to Flatiron's website and you can find that. You can find the breakdown. I think one last question I'll ask you before we jump into just an AMA, so people can ask you questions. I'm sure you're very closely connected to all the admissions people who are actually doing the interviewing. And so there's now 86 people on this call, and a lot of them are interested either in Flatiron or other schools, and they're going through the interview process. What advice do you have for the folks in Career Karma to prepare and stand out during the interview process?
That's a great question. I would say engage with the school. Engage with, for us, we have a lot of content available. We have free coursework available. Engage with the school and, sort of do the work on your end to dig in to software engineering, data science, UX, UI design, whichever is your sort of what you think you want to dig into. Do some of the work on your end to dig in and get a sense for what the work is, what the jobs are. Make sure it's something you're passionate about. So these the skills you attain, you can learn them. You can absolutely learn them. We've seen through years of teaching at Flatiron School, we've taught all different students from different professional backgrounds, no professional backgrounds, different education to less education. Like, we've taught a lot of students, and we've seen students can learn this, but it's a lot of work. And so you just have to feel excited by it. You have to feel passionate about it. You have to want to do it. And so I always recommend to students to do the soul searching up front. Spend some time trying to write some code or going to some meetups. You get exposed to code. We do a great event. We do it both online and on our campuses, writing music with code. Code is applicable to so many parts of life, and you can literally write music with code. So go to events, engage with the community to the best you can, to just get a sense, is this how I want to spend my time? Is this what I want to do? Talk to people who've done it. That's the first thing I would say to do, is just do the soul searching up front and engage with the school. You're going to get a ton of information about the school from your interactions with them, and you're going to learn so much about the school as much as the school's going to learn about you, which is an important part of the process for you. You got to go to a place that you feel really good about. Dig into outcomes reports. See what schools are saying about their job placements. Dig into it. Ask questions if you have it. Ask questions. Learn as much as you can.
Yeah. And for everyone, I get this question a lot, as how do you pick a coding bootcamp that's the best coding bootcamp? And the answer, the true answer is that it depends on if you want to do in person, online, if you want to do data science, web development. My advice to everyone who is facing this decision is to look at schools that have incentive to help their graduates actually get jobs. I think there's some people on the chat who are asking what are the differences between schools? I think Flatiron is one of the few schools that provides a money back guarantee. And if you think about the promise of a money back guarantee, that means the school, if they teach you things that are useful to know, but they're not useful to employers, then not only will you not find a job, but the school is not going to make any money, right? And I think that's a promise that not a lot of boot camps will make, but that's definitely not a promise that a college will make. And so my question to Annette is, in terms of aligning schools' incentives with students, can you share a little bit about the money back guarantee and maybe the income sharing piece as well before we jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, for sure. So the money back guarantee applies no matter how you pay for Flatiron School, whether you pay out of pocket, whether you get a loan, whether you get an ISA, whether you've gotten a scholarship, whatever. It applies to all programs, all of our career change programs. It says if you go through our program, if you actively job seek with us, and you have to actively job seek with us, and we have some requirements for what active job seeking is. If you do that and 6 months passes and you do not have a job, we will refund your tuition. There's also lots of details about that on our website if you want to dig in a little bit more. But if you don't find yourself working at the end of 6 months, we give you your tuition back. So our incentive to help you get a job and to support you and partner with you through the career the career services phase, the job seeking phase, is very high, because you need that, and that's what you signed up for. And if it doesn't happen, then we refund your tuition.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Annette.
And that applies with ISA as well.
Yeah, that's very cool, and I love that money back guarantee. Definitely shows that Flatiron as a school believes in what they teach. I think this is a perfect segue to just open up for questions from Career Karma's community. What I would say is, if you're asking a question, please introduce yourself. It doesn't have to be a long introduction, but like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, share where you're coming from, why you're interested, and then feel free to ask any questions.
Well, I have a question.
Hi there.
Hi, my name is Sonomi. I reside in Norcross, Georgia. I recently I'm a computer science major at Georgia State University. However, because of circumstances, I had to take some time away from school. And I was introduced to Career Karma by the algorithm and Instagram, by me researching IT certifications. Now, my question is in reference to the prep course, because I personally signed up for you all's prep course. Mm-hmm. Would that be something that is kind of relative towards the curriculum that is at Flatiron currently?
Yes. So we have prep for all 3 of our courses: data science, software engineering, or UX UI. Did you do software engineering?
Yes. So I was able to touch bases with a little bit of, I believe it is Dr. Java, or, I touched bases with a lot of different languages, mm-hmm. but I didn't get in depth with it. And that's something that I definitely wanted to get in depth with. I want to dig in more.
Yeah, the Bootcamp prep course will touch on HTML and CSS. It'll touch on JavaScript. And if you keep going, it'll touch on Ruby and give you a really good intro into those languages. And then the work that you do is like directly transferable to the coursework. And so you not only get a really good sense of like what these languages are, and do you enjoy actually writing lines of code and solving problems that way, but you also get a sense to like how Flatiron School teaches. We have in our software engineering bootcamp prep course, we have technical coaches that are available in chat to actually answer questions, hop into screen share. So you also get a taste of Flatiron School instruction, which I think is great. And then for software engineering, doing that work sets you up really well for the admissions process as well as for the first part of the course. It's not required to do all of it or anything like that, but we definitely recommend students jump in and do some lessons to get some exposure to the languages that we're teaching and just like who we are.
And I also want to add that I think everyone should start doing the prep course and also apply at the same time, just so you can you know exactly what the steps are. Very often I see people start doing the prep course and they don't actually get to speak to Flatiron to find out if they have scholarships, what kind of payment options are out there for you. And sometimes you might even miss a scholarship because you didn't, because they're also like unrolling bases. And so make sure that you're doing both at the same time, and you're working with other people in Career Karma and through Flatiron Slack channel to study with others on these coding challenges. They're not easy because this is the first time you're learning how to code, but I know people who have had study partners, they just have way more fun and as a result make way more progress.
Coding is so collaborative. You know, the vision of it's just like something you like do on your own at your laptop. It's just not, it's very collaborative. Students pair program all the time, bounce ideas, check each other's code, troubleshoot it. To your point, Timur, it's like a very collaborative thing. So I totally agree. Connect with peers where you can, and the community is critical.
I got a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Spencer, do you mind introducing yourself first?
Yeah, so how's it going? This is Spencer. And I just had some questions regarding the Flatiron. I was wondering, how is the pair programming, because that's really important for me and probably for everyone else, because when you get on the job site or in your career, you're going to be pair programming and communicating with a lot of people. And I was wondering, how does Flatiron goes about doing that?
So so you're right. It's incredibly important on the job, and it's something that is talked about during the interview process. And people, employers want to know that you've had some experience pair programming. So it's definitely built into courses. So if you're studying on campus with us, you're literally sitting next to students in the cohort, and you pair program at different parts of every project and different, like literally every day. Somebody is, you're just constantly pair programming. You're also doing group work as well, so that 4 people might be working on the same project, different components of the project, different parts of different code on the same project. Online, we also have pair programming. So many students study exclusively online with us. You're part of, in many cases, you're part of a cohort, and the cohort has other students. There's dedicated instructors for each cohort, and they, work with the students in the cohort to arrange pairs, and then you'll pair program over Zoom like this, sharing your screen and being on video and using audio. So we found that students can really successfully organize their schedules around a time that makes sense for them, and then do the same sort of pair programming, but remotely from like literally opposite sides of the country sometimes, if that's how it works out.
Nice. To add on to that, is there a higher percentage from pair programming than lecture? Or what I mean by that, is there more doing work instead of lecture? Yes.
So the best way to become, we found the best way to become a great programmer, a great data scientist, a great designer is by doing a lot of that thing. So in all of our courses, you do a lot of it. You write a lot of code, you look at a lot of data, you do a lot of designs. And so there are lectures and instructor run study groups and instructors teaching, but a big component of the course is students writing code, building things, getting feedback on that, reviewing it with others, tweaking it, etc. So yeah, it's a big part of it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question.
You're welcome.
For the income sharing agreement, if you already got a job before the end of your your schooling or whatever,
which happens sometimes, it's not the norm, but it has happened.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe the job has nothing to do with being a software developer, but you just got a job anyway. Does it change any of the terms of the agreement?
So it certainly might, depending on how much of the program you've completed. each program in each state has a different refund policy that is regulated by the state. So it's a little bit complicated to answer yes or no, but the answer is it might, and we'd have to review how far into the program you are, what are the refund terms, and then that would, yes, impact an ISA. The type of job you get with an ISA isn't as important as the minimum income requirement. And so it would just be a little bit complicated, but definitely something we could go through in more detail. If you think that's something you want to like flesh out in advance, we would just, talk about it, look at the state you're in, et cetera.
Why I'm asking this question is because, so take for instance, you are actively searching for a job. It's a career transition, quite all right, but it's not something you've not already transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take, for instance, I'm a marketing person. So I get a marketing job that pays me very well, but I still want to finish my software engineering program and in the future still transition to software or have it as an add-on to what I'm currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just want to know to what extent, because I know that I have to pay for the program at the end of the day. Are the terms of payment going to be different? That's what I really want to know. Because the job I got has nothing to do with being a software developer.
So we might have to take this offline to make sure I really understand it all, because I want to make sure to give you the best information. But the ISA payments kick in once graduation has happened. You get a grace period of 3 or 6 months, depending on the program, and then the ISA payments kick in, assuming you're making the minimum income. So if you graduate from the program and are employed after the grace period, then payments would begin. Does that make sense?
I think, can I also add, I think the ISA option, I think it's specifically designed for people who actually want to transition into like an engineering role and apply for engineering jobs. I know there's some people who are, maybe they're in marketing, maybe they're, let's say they're doing engineering and they want to learn some data. And you can still, like Flatiron has their courses, and you can still like either take out a loan or pay for it up front if you have no intention of actually getting a job in that field afterwards. So if you're in marketing and you feel like you want to learn how to code because later on you might use it as a skill, then you might want to explore a different payment option than an ISA, and Flatiron has other options available as well.
I got a question.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
But we can definitely talk about this further, because your specific situation, we can certainly go into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think Timo clarified a bit, but I'm not very sure. I just want to know that if at the end of the day I'm going to pay $22,000, I just want to be sure I'm not overpaying, because I'm not.
That's the beauty of ISA. It has a payment cap, so the payment stops at a cap of tuition.
Yeah, but okay. So let me give you an example. The tuition is about, let's say the tuition is about 11,000 or 12,000. I'm just giving that example.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you will find out that when you have to use ISA, you are almost paying double, because you're paying over a longer period of time. You're paying over 24 months. Now, the question, why I asked that question is, assuming I get a job before I even finish my program, and the job necessarily is not in software engineering. Yes, I want to transition, but I've not transitioned. So am I going to pay the regular tuition, which I should have paid upfront, or I'm still going to pay the long term? You're
not gonna like this answer. The long and short of it is, it's I can't say, because a lot can happen, and the ISA has a lot of protections for things that might happen. So it's tough to say, but what I could say is you wouldn't pay more than 1.5 times tuition.
Okay.
With a Flatiron ISA.
That clarifies it.
Okay, good.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
I got accepted at Flatiron in April.
Mm-hmm.
I did the pre-coursework. I'm already in the coursework. I'm in the July 15th cohort.
Mm-hmm.
I've already graduated college twice.
Okay.
And I'm going from working in retail, because I quit my job at Dollar Tree and I said to myself, I want to do coding, and I've been learning coding by myself, self-taught, of a couple dozen languages, and I've been learning on Udemy, and I've been learning at Flatiron. And
so you've done the soul searching I'm talking about.
I want to get into to web development in PlayStation and Google and Microsoft. And I got approved for the $15,000 ISA just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I want to just touch on what she said. According to the ISA that I have, if you don't make a job, if you don't get a job of making minimum of $40,000 a year, which is equivalent to $3,334 a month, you don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pay a $2,000 deposit when you get an ISA. There's no deposit. Just like Tima said when he got me started in Career Karma, he said there's no payment for the ISA, so you won't pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say that I love Flatiron. I love the work, and I love the students. I'm part of the online cohort, and I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna graduate next year, and I'm gonna all to Flatiron and all to Career Karma, because you guys just got me into this, and I love it.
And I can't wait to hear about the job that you get. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I have a.
You want to go first?
No, you can go first. No, go ahead.
Hi, my name is George Lima. I'm currently on my 7th day. So I'm in the process of filling applications and kind of doing some due diligence regarding which school and avenue I want to go. My question to you is, with your background in education and helping students getting, into accredited colleges in the past, as you know, it's such a competitive playing field, differing from accredited towards boot camp. And yes, times are changing, and things are disrupting year in, year out. One of the main reasons why I decided to kind of get into this career, more or less, is I didn't want to look down 10, 15 years and go, man, I need to relearn some new tools and add some more feathers to my cap. So at the end of the day, I mean, what differs from, the companies within HR adapting to these changes rather than going to the traditional route, hiring from top tier schools?
So I would point to job placements. Like the data is there that grads get hired. Companies have roles to fill in software engineering and data science and UX UI design, and to find candidates to fill them, they have to look outside of the traditional institutions that they've been hiring from, or they're not going to fill their jobs. And so I think, maybe when I first started at Flatiron School in 2015, maybe then there was still a little bit of like, oh, is the bootcamp grad is good? Feels like, and I think the placements at our school and at other schools show that bootcamp grads are amazing and do amazing work and land great jobs. And one of the things that we found, Thomas a second ago mentioned, like wanting to get into Google, for example, one of the best ways to move up the ladder and to get bigger and better jobs in tech is to get experience, learn the skill, then get paid experience with the skill and use that to keep moving up the ladder and like advancing your career. So I think there's wide acceptance, and I shouldn't even say I think, I know, because the outcomes will prove it. The placements literally prove it, that the grads go out and get amazing jobs, and our grads are amazing. Like our students are literally amazing. One of the best things that I've done in the last 3 years since coming to Flatiron School, now almost 4 years, is like I just talk to amazing students that do so many things and are trying to like make the world a better place and make their lives better and the lives of their family better. It's like, I get a little like choked up just talking about it. It's incredibly inspiring what like you guys all bring to the table. And that comes through to employers. And that's meaningful for them as they build diverse technology teams that are going to build the products of the future. So I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I have, let's say I have an associate's. I necessarily didn't due to family crisis, whatnot, so I didn't necessarily finish my bachelor's. So I've been kind of in a transition per se. And, you know, all of us are in different phases of our lives and whatnot, but, you know, you put your daughter before, you know, starting, and I put my son to sleep prior to this conversation. So, I mean, there are common threads within society of how people are trying to found a good, solid foundation. So I guess, you know, that's the main reason why, because I've gone to job interviews and they'll be like, oh, you're too qualified or this or that. I'd rather people going, hey, nah, you know, so like, at the end of the day, you know, you are competing. It's a competitive world. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's when you travel it, it's a lot smaller than what people think it is. And
I think, I'm sorry, I cut you off, George.
Oh, no, you're good.
I think one of the things, I think that's where people find the career services piece so valuable. You know, to have, because you're absolutely right. It is competitive and you've got to get your foot in the door, and then you've got to land the job. And there are other applicants. Absolutely. And two things you mentioned, the college degree, everybody has an obstacle. When people are looking for jobs, everybody's got some obstacle. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have a degree. You know, my resume looks like this for 10 years and now I'm doing this. There's an obstacle. And what the career services team does and what the career coach's job is to help you tell your story and work through that obstacle to tell a story that is compelling for employers. And that, like, having that partner, and people talk about their career coaches, and, you know, the number of conversations they have with them each week, and the negotiations that are helped with, like, they are like literally working with the career coach to negotiate, and to talk to the employer. They will review your emails that you send. Like, they're really in it with you because and I think that's a feature of the program and that is just like hands down one of the most valued to students is the career services piece, because you're right. It isn't, it's not just like graduate from a boot camp and then go get it and like instantly have a job. No, you've got to do some work. And
you're going to go zero to hero, just like boom. No, I get it. I mean, people are like, he's had something about, you know, networking and backdoor, and on Friday it was great discussion, by the way. So it's networking is a good aspect of it, but a lot of, you know, there's some people that are really old school mentality when it comes to hiring, where they do like that accredited, validated, you know, diploma of sorts on the wall. And there are individuals that do give you a break and they do give you a chance. So it's a matter of course, networking and getting to know, you know, individuals within Career Karma and outside of Career Karma and branching out. But, you know, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Still learning. I've done something similar to this, and you know, they did sell the career aspect, and we have good, you know, career tracks and stuff. So it's a tough pill for me to swallow in that aspect, because I have gone to job fairs and, you know, gone to Atlanta. I live in Florida or Chicago and things of that nature. So I have gotten into that mix and things. I'm not discouraging anybody. If not, you know, keep at it. You know, one of my strongest attributes is in that retrospective things is that I've taken some interesting jobs along the way, and clearly sales and aspects of that have let me figure out that I have quite the tenacity to kind of have the thick skin of rejection and keep plugging and going through things.
Tenacity in any job search is key. So that's great.
And can I just add that, George, you also, I think you mentioned that there's going to be companies that are more like traditional in their ways.
Yes.
And people probably have heard me say this 100 times on these calls. You only need to get one company to give you a job, right? And so there's always going to be a company that doesn't hire you because you might have a criminal record, right? There might be a company that doesn't hire you because you don't have a college degree. But at the end of the day, you don't need to work at those companies, and you can find other companies that will hire you, because there's thousands of companies that needed developers. Like, just look around, how many companies need mobile apps, websites, and
no, of course. I mean, there's an abundance. I mean, we're all kind of gearing for the second wave of industrial revolution here, you know? So, I mean, all of us, with 69 participants right now, I mean, all of us are generally looking for a better future. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Oh, hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
I have a question. Hi. I applied to the data science bootcamp, and I had my first school chat on Friday, and I just wanted to know the timeline. I've been working through the Flatiron prep courses, and I really have to say that as a former public school teacher, I really like the layout, and I appreciate how it is formatted, and there's the opportunity to ask questions of your peers and have them answered, and it's broken down into digestible bits, and I just, as a teacher, yay for that. But I just want to know the timeline about how long does the application process take, and when do you find out if you've made it through, typically?
So I'll be honest, Adrienne, I'm a little surprised that you haven't, usually we get you information right back within 48 hours. So you might have an invite to a technical interview. So our data science course, if you're interested in a full-time or part-time course, we'll have a technical portion of the interview, which we can get you some information. But I wrote your name down, and literally after this call, I will dig in and find an answer for you. Because
thank you.
My hope is you would have heard back about moving to the next step, by certainly the end of today. So I will find out for you.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm eager to start, and I really appreciate the layout of Flatiron. So that's my first choice, obviously. But I'm moving ahead regardless. So just wanted to keep that in mind.
I have your first name, which that plus data science. Plus career karma should hopefully be enough for me to find you.
I spoke with Adam, I think. Adam.
Oh, yeah, Adam.
I spoke with on Friday. Yeah.
Great. I'll connect with him and make sure we get you an answer within the next couple of hours.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your commitment to education.
Oh,
I have another question.
Yeah.
So I was, Danny and I both had similar questions about the interview questions and that process. Is it possible that you can provide some type of insight on what will be the best way to attack an interview?
Yeah. So our admissions process is designed so that you can get a good sense of Flatiron School, and we can get a good sense of you and whether your goals align with what the programs do. So it starts with a written application where we just ask you to express, why you're pursuing or think you might be pursuing the program that you've selected, and a little bit about your story and what you're looking to get out of it. There's some questions. So it's a written application is the first step. From there, we'll contact you for an admissions interview. During that interview, we have a couple of questions for you. One of the things we're trying to get at is your interest and passion for the thing: data science, design, software engineering. And I sort of alluded to this earlier. These are attainable skills, but you've got to want to do it and put the work in. They're not they don't just come at the snap of the fingers. It's a lot of work. The courses are intensive. And so we want to see or hear from you. We want to hear from you during the admissions interview that you've done some of the soul searching and thought through why you want to be a data scientist or a software engineer or a designer. And that's one of the number one things. Next, we're also interested in making sure that our values are aligned and sort of we share values. And, we are a collaborative, community-oriented place and want to make sure that that's the kind of environment you want to be in. We are we're a scrappy place, and software engineering and these high tech careers are scrappy. Like you've got to be willing to Google and to look for answers and to problem solve. And so we go through some of those things on the interview as well. And so what I would recommend is think about, why you want to do the course that you're doing, how you sort of went through the process to decide this is something to pursue, and talk about that with your admissions rep. Also come with what the questions you have, the concerns that you have. Like everybody's got something that's like, making them nervous about this. And so come and talk about that. Make sure that you leave the call with the questions that you have also answered, because as much as we're getting to know you, you're getting to know us to make sure that our goals are aligned. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that helpful?
And I'm sorry, and one more. I know that you stated that there is a technical part of the interview. Is it something that we need to also? I know that we always need to be prepared, but is there anything in particular that we will need to, just brush up on as far as information?
So the great thing is that for the initial admissions interview, there's no technical sort of preparation that you need to do. For the next stages, if there is, and not all programs, it sort of varies a little bit, like each admissions process is slightly different. If there is a technical interview or technical pre-work process to go through, we provide you with all of the coursework and the time to do it. We also provide some support through our technical coaches so that you don't have to do it totally alone.
Yeah. Can I also emphasize that for anyone who is considering applying or getting accepted, I know a lot of people are nervous about when they hear words like interviews, they get nervous. When they hear about getting accepted, technical challenges, they get nervous. Realize that applying to a boot camp, it's a very different process where Flatiron wants you. They just want to make sure that you're ready and you're not going to be falling behind and then feeling like you're always trying to catch up. And they make it very, they're very transparent about what problems you need to work on, what coursework you need to do for you to get ready for the technical challenges or for you to get ready to start. And you're also doing it on your own timeline. If you have a day job and you might be taking care of your family and you don't have as much time as others, it might take you 2 months versus someone else, it might take them 2 weeks. But don't try to compare yourself to others. If this is something you want to do, like they're going to give you the roadmap. You just need to follow all the steps and do it. And then in terms of Flatiron's courses, they also have online part-time courses. I think that's a big one to know because until recently, until 2-3 years ago, and it's also back when I was doing my boot camp, I had to quit my job. I had to move to a different city. And today you don't have to do any of it. So it actually increases access to this type of education because you can do it online. You can also do a part-time course so you don't have to quit your job. And now the biggest thing is you can also do an ISA so you don't have to pay for it. Back a couple of years back, you had to take out a loan or pay up front. Today you can do an ISA, and like Thomas said, with some ISAs, you don't even have to pay up front until you're in a job working as a developer. And since we have about 6-7 minutes left in the call, I would love for Annette to explain how does income sharing works. I think a lot of people on the call understand income sharing, but I think it would be great for you to explain for people who are looking for the option of doing it, paying for it after they're in a job. Can you explain how it's structured and how it might be different from a traditional loan?
Yeah, so our income share agreement is structured so that you either pay a deposit up front if you're doing on campus, or if you're studying online, no deposit, and then defer the rest of the tuition until after you graduate and have a job where your minimum income is $40,000. And from there on, you pay 10% of your income for up to 1.5 times tuition. And there's a there's, ISAs, one of the ways that ISAs are different from traditional loans is some protections that are included in ISAs. So for an example, a protection is if you're not making the minimum income, no tuition is due. If you, that's an example of one protection. If for whatever reasons your payments have gone on longer than 96 months because you weren't making income for some number of months, the liability goes away. That's another thing. Or if you've made 48 payments but have not reached your tuition cap because of your salary, then you don't pay the full tuition cap. So there's some nice protections included with ISAs. We have a very thoroughly built out site on flatironschool.com to help you understand all of the details of the ISA, so that whatever financing option you choose with Flatiron School that's going to work for you, you have all the information going in so that you can compare it to other things and also just like know exactly what the obligations are. But hopefully at a high level, all that made sense.
Can I ask a question or?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sydney.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sydney. Nice to meet you. So I have a few members in my squad, YNA squad, that started their boot camp like 2 weeks ago. So I really they've been showing me the work that they have to complete and what their portal looks like. But I'm just I want to know, is it mandatory that we have to finish all of the modules and everything each week, or do we get 2 weeks, or if something happens on a week, do we get to stretch it out? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So Timur mentioned this a few minutes ago that, people that are completing boot camps often can't stop everything and attend from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. People have lives, people have responsibilities. And so one of the things that we've done is design programs that are a little bit more flexible to sort of wrap around the different responsibilities. So the answer to your question definitely depends a little bit on what course you're
part-time specifically.
Part-time specifically.
They're all in part-time.
Okay, they're all in part-time. So there are assignments that are due each week that you're sort of expected to keep up with. There are pauses at different points so that students can catch up on different things. And there's also educational coaches and instructors that are working with students to help sort of fill gaps and keep them on pace. There are opportunities at the end of every module to submit projects, get feedback on your projects, make tweaks to the projects. But the short answer is yes, there's definitely things that have to be completed. There's a little bit of flexibility in exactly when, but in order to keep up with your cohort, you've got to keep doing the work to move along.
You have
with
to follow the weekly schedule, pretty much. That's what it is.
Pretty much, with there's always a little bit of give, but pretty much.
Okay, and I have one more question. I know with Flatiron, you guys, with the full-time and part-time, it comes with the membership at the Hot Decks with WeWork. So can you explain that, please?
Yeah, so if you enroll in one of our online programs and have a WeWork within sort of easy commuting distance for you, you get access to a 12-month hot desk so that you can study from that WeWork, and you get sort of the perks of being a WeWork member at that location.
So which means I can go there anytime I need to study.
Yep.
Free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi, coffee, beautiful bathrooms. And what's great is if you have other students, if you know other students in the area, it's a great place to study together.
And it's a great place to meet other startups because there's a lot of scratchy startups that work out of WeWork.
Okay. And I think I've seen that it's 24/7.
Say again?
Is it 24/7?
It varies by WeWork, but I believe there's access to if you have a membership, yes. But it varies a little bit by location.
Okay, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, I have one last question. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, jump in.
I'm sorry, I know everyone's tired of me. But I was wanting to know in traditional school how you're able to split off how you take the course. You take some on campus and some online. Are we able to do that as well?
At the moment, our courses are either all on campus or online. At the moment, our online students definitely congregate, meet together, work together in person, but the courses are on campus or online.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Annette, something that I recently learned that for your part-time course, the hours are actually somewhat flexible.
Yes.
I know with some programs, the part-time, it's like you're in class Monday through Friday from like 6 to 9. But what are the hours, or how is the part-time online structured at Flatiron?
Yeah.
That was a question I had as well. I wanted to know, because I worked full-time. So I wanted to know if there was like hours that I had to be online or something like that.
Flatiron School has always been about trying to make the education accessible, and one of the things that we know we need to do in order to make it accessible is be flexible in time. And so the part-time program requires call it 20 to 25 hours a week, but you have a lot of leeway in how you schedule that time. And so there are lectures and some study groups that may conflict with your work schedule. They're all recorded, and there's also ones that happen at alternate hours. And the students in your cohort often are working similarly, and so they're available nights and weekends. And so as long as you're doing the work, the schedule can be pretty flexible. What's not flexible is you've got to go to your check-ins with your instructors, and they'll schedule it at times that you can go to. If it's not something you can do during the 9 to 5, they schedule it afterwards. So it's a great it is a great part of the program, is that you can arrange your schedule around it, but you do have to keep up with the pace.
Oh yeah, and I'm actually, hi, my name's Troy.
Hey.
I'm actually enrolled at Flatiron in your UX program.
Oh.
And I just wanted to say thanks, because you guys are like one of the only programs that is intensive, online, part-time, that has an ISA, and that also has a client project that's an actual client project.
Thank you for raising that. It's real, which means you'll graduate with experience having actually worked with a client and a project that is different from all the other students. So thank you for raising that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And as we're wrapping up, are there other Flatiron students on the call now who are actually enrolled? I know Thomas says, Troy, anyone else?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just got accepted into the program.
Congrats.
For the software engineering program, and I'm doing the pre-course work now. But I was set to start August 12th, but I didn't get approved for the ISA or the loan. And I wanted to know about any scholarships that you guys had.
So we do offer scholarships that are that sort of come in and out, sort of depending on different partners we work with or what's happening. We also offer merit-based scholarships. What I would say is to make sure that you connect with your admissions rep. And you can also email me directly, and we can just circle back on any options given those 2 denials. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. We can engage and see what we can figure out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome, Annette. I know we're a little bit past time. I want to be respectful of your time, and so I always ask this question at the end of each AMA. I think every single person, whether they know it or not, whether they admit it or not, experiences imposter syndrome. And so I would love your advice for everyone who is entering into this career transition. It's inevitable that people will feel like there's others around them who are more competent. What advice do you have for them, and how have you dealt with it in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, everybody does experience it, especially I think in these fields. What I would say is to engage, talk to the community, like talk to the people around you, ask questions, share what you're feeling, because everybody has felt it themselves at some time or another and probably still feels it. So don't be afraid to share it and to talk about it. And just like, in these high-tech careers, like this struggle is sort of part of the way. You're never going to feel totally comfortable. There's always going to be a new problem. There's always going to be something else. And so do your best to embrace that and realize that that's when you're doing it. And it is just a part of the process, and you've got to get comfortable with it and keep pushing yourself and to talk about it. And that's actually a part of our course. We definitely, in our campuses, we call them Feeling Fridays, online Thoughtful Thursdays. We encourage students to talk through the challenges of the journey, because it is an up and down road. There are moments where the code passes and you are on top of the world. You can do anything, and then other moments where you just feel like you know nothing, and it just got harder and the mountain is bigger. And so we really encourage students to talk about it.
I appreciate you joining, Annette. One last question around how do people stay in touch with you? Is it your email, Twitter, LinkedIn? What's the best way for people to keep in touch?
Yeah, I say my email. I'm on it all day, every day, Annette@FlatironSchool.com. We can type it into the chat, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to type it right now.
Annette@FlatironSchool.com. Admissions@FlatironSchool.com will get you also connected to admissions reps. You can call us. We pick up our phone, 888-958-0569. We do pick up our phone. And, it's our job. We like to talk to people. That's why we're all here. We like to engage on this. We believe this is a pathway for a lot of people. And we like talking about your goals, the process. So engage with us. And thank you so much, all of you, for having me on the call, for sharing so much about your stories and asking so many great questions. This has been really, really fun for me.
Thank you so much, Annette. And I want to say one last thing to everyone in Career Karma. If you enjoyed this, if you found it valuable, please tweet at Flatiron School on Twitter, tag Career Karma, mention that you attended the AMA with Annette. Show some love to Flatiron, but also to your friends who might be interested in a similar career transition. And again, thank you so much, Annette, for coming. Let's show Annette a round of applause, everyone.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. And I have a recording to this, so if anyone missed it, I'll be sending it through the community. And have a great night, everyone. Thanks a lot, Annette.
Bye, everybody. Bye.